are you doing much animation anymore? Or?
Not really doing so much animation anymore. Not really pursuing it that much.
Yeah.
You know, kind of, not that I don't want to, but you know, listen, you know, Christy, honestly, I had a really solid, great, you know, 15 to 20 years of having the most fun, more fun than a guy should be allowed to have, you know, and getting paid for it. And you know, I was always kind of all along, always doing a lot of commercial voiceover work as well, had a lot of big accounts that were ongoing and did very well for me and that I enjoyed, and I always enjoyed just the change up of the different kinds of work that I was doing. And then in 1993, in fact, this very same month that I started the Tick, in August of 1993, I got this fluke audition to go over and read a must-see TV promo at NBC. Went down to the basement in Burbank and sat in Denny Dark's chair, put his headphones on, sat at his mic, and did the very first must-see TV promo for, they were launching the John Larroquette show. Yeah. I remember at the end of August of 1993. And I'd never done a promo before, and I thought, again, not to be, you know, smart aleck about, but it was like, how hard can this be? Because of my radio background, I had a really good sense of timing. Yeah. You know, now with my animation background and with the commercial background and stuff, you know, I felt well suited to it. And so we just played at this first session. They liked what I did so much, they ended up putting it on the air that night. And I was like, what? No kidding. I've got a promo on the air that's airing on NBC tonight, and how crazy. My parents met working at NBC all these years ago. You know, how weird sort of full circle is this? Yeah. And then they invited me back the next week to do more Larroquette promos, and then kind of one thing led to another, and then I was doing the promos for all the Tuesday night shows within a month or so. And then within 3 months of starting there, at Halloween time of 1993, so exactly 20 years ago, they called me on a Friday night at home and said, Townsend, listen, you know, Jay Leno's been doing the Tonight Show for about a year now, and he's kind of getting his butt whooped by Letterman, and they want to kind of change the direction that they're going with these promos, and they'd like you to do them. Yeah. Would you be willing to do that? I'm like, yeah. I mean, literally, they called me 7 o'clock on a Friday night at home, and I said, yeah, well, what do I need to do? And they said, well, you need to commit to 5 weeks, be here 5 nights a week, 7 o'clock every night. You can't be late because we do the promo, and then they satellite it back to New York immediately within like 15 minutes. It goes right on the air on the East Coast during that last half hour of prime time. And for that night's show, because what they were going to start doing is actually taking bits from the show as it taped here in Burbank, and then take little bits of those and write a 20-second promo, put those bits that were actually going to be on the show that night into the promo. So in essence, it's about the next best thing to being a live promo. And
that was the first time they ever did that?
First time they ever did that like that, yeah. And so they called them hot topicals, and they really needed to change it up and do something different to try and, you know, kind of get Jay, you know, a little more visible. And so they said, you got to be here at 7 o'clock every night, 5 nights a week for 5 weeks for the November sweeps. And I'm like, great. When do you need me to start? And he said, Monday. So that weekend, you know, I was like, I can't believe this. I'm going in Monday to do a Tonight Show promo for Jay Leno. And so that Monday night I showed up. We did our first Tonight Show promo that way. And at the end of the 5 weeks, they just never told us to stop. And we ended up doing it I ended up doing it for 16 years. They're still doing them the same way now. They're still doing it exactly the same way every night now. And of course, you know, Jay took off, and you know, has been sort of king of the hill there in that playground for a long time. But boy, what a rush that was. And so I ended up doing Jay's promos for 16 years. Went into NBC down there in the basement every night for 16 years doing those promos.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And do you think that your must-see TV promo voice Do you think it was, I think before that, a lot of the promos were very radio announcery, I think. Yours is probably more character, probably like the first, that was really kind of a character voice doing the promo on it.
I think so. You know, when they first started doing the Must-See TV stuff, what they said they wanted is they wanted a very conversational sound. And they were actually looking for a guy who ended up not having any interest in doing network promos, but who had a very popular sound at the time, who had a very sort of monotonous kind of deep Midwest sort of, you know, kind of sound, and just sounded kind of like a normal guy, did not sound like an announcer at all, and just kind of, you know, talked kind of nonstop without ever taking a breath, kind of thing. This was what they were saying that they wanted. So I happened to be standing in my agent's office because he handled that guy at the time, and we were talking. He gets this phone call from this guy at NBC saying this is what they're looking for, and he said, trust me, he'll never do network promos, which he wouldn't. He said, but I happen to have a guy here who can sort of do that style. Let me put him on the phone with you. So he puts me on the phone with this Bob Levy over at NBC, and I do this over the phone. He says, wow, that, you know, it sounds real good. Can you come over here and try it at NBC? And I said, sure. So that's why I ended up, you know, that afternoon driving from my agent's office over to Burbank, sitting down in the chair, playing around with this stuff. But again, it was largely because of my radio background, a decent sense of timing, I had a looseness, you know, being willing to try different characters, because to me, that style was a character.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
so,
absolutely.
And when I started doing that initially, once they heard it, when we were first trying it out, they realized that it really wasn't the direction they wanted to go, because it needed to have more energy. It still was a promo and needed to have more life somehow. But they just didn't want it sounding like, you know what I'm saying? Radio announcer stuff. And so I said, well, you know, let's sort of play with this and try some different stuff. And we kind of chopped it up. And again, like I said, they liked what we came up with that day and put it on the air that night. And like one thing led to another. And yeah, boom, there I was. So what I was going to say is, you know, so there it was in 1993. It launches this what became, you know, sort of a long promo, a career in promo. So here I had these three kind of legs of this stool of my career, you know, one being solid commercial stuff with its, you know, all its own accounts and stuff, and characters as well within the commercial, you know, realm that I was doing, animation and network promo. And I mean, you talk about dying and going to heaven. It's like, and this was back in the days before we all had ISDN boxes in our home studios, and we're going, you know, all going to studios all over town. So we're just bopping around from studio to studio, and you know, seeing all your peers and the studio managers and the recording engineers and even receptionists, and it was such a great big family, and what a great time that was, you know. So now, I guess, getting back to what you were saying about, we were talking about my animation. I'm not really doing so much animation anymore. Not really even doing so much commercial anymore. Kind of as it's turned out and as things have sort of shaken out over the years, kind of promo is where I've kind of landed, you know. And listen, I count myself as one very lucky man to still be working as much as I'm working. At this point in my career, at this age, you know, I'm going to be 60 next year, and don't mind saying that. It's, you know, I've been very lucky, very fortunate, feel great, have my health, and love what I do, you know. So even though NBC let me go 4 years ago, back in the fall of 2009, you know, I've been able to parlay, you know, of course with the help of my great agents, sort of one thing into another, and I've been doing the Judge Judy radio spots for, gosh, probably 16 or 17 years now, so I'm still doing those.
Show that was on the air now.
I'm still, she's king of the hill. I understand she just signed another contract till 2017. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I do the Judge Judy radio spots every sweep, so I do those 4 or 5 times a year, and for season premiere stuff. And, I do a ton of stuff for the Hub. I was saying the Hub, do lots of stuff for them. For ABC Family, do a lot of stuff for them, comedies for them. I do the Live with Kelly and Michael spots every day. I do promos every day. I've been doing those for years too. Was doing those back when it was live with Regis and Kelly.
Sure.
And so feel very fortunate to have made that transition. And then talk about transitions after being so associated with one network, one major network, for so long as sort of the voice of comedy at NBC for 16 years. When they let me go, I figured, well, I've seen my day in the sun. You know, that I'll never get another chance like that, and I can't complain. You know, 16 years, a great run. But I'm on ABC now, so here I'm back on another major network. I do 4 comedies for them now, and been there. They took me on board last year, and I'm having a blast saying ABC now instead of NBC.
Sure.
Look, I'm just lucky to be able to still be doing what I'm doing. The one thing that I do miss, Christy, is getting out of my house and going to the studios anymore. The only time I get to do that is when I do an episode of a cartoon, when they want the whole ensemble cast there, and I get to run into some of my old pals. Or when I go do an episode of Adventures in Odyssey, a show I've been doing for 19 years now, for Focus on the Family. I've been playing Jason Whitaker on that. Get to see some great people and wonderful people when I go to do those. But those are the relatively few times I actually get to leave my home to go work.
Is it just because the technology has changed?
The technology's changed. I've got an ISDN box here at home, which allows me to hook up to any studio in the world virtually who's got another ISDN box on their end. And so all my work, all of it, 100% of it, I do from home. You know, ABC Family, The Hub, Judge Judy, Live with Kelly and Michael. It's all daily stuff that I do, right here from home. So I need to find reasons to go leave the house, like going over to my Cirque School LA and in Hollywood and working out on the trapeze and my aerial silks. Is that
something you want to do?
And it's what I am doing now, just in terms of a gym.
Okay.
Rather than going to the Y and working out on the weight machines, using your own body as resistance, as weight resistance, is just the best way to do it. You got the performance aspect. Not that I'm up on the trapeze. I mean, I am working out on a trapeze and the aerial silks, but they're low to the ground. Because it literally is a gym, that uses circus equipment instead of gym equipment. So there's that, and like I was saying, because I've got the mustache and the lack of hair, is because I just did this play over in Hollywood that closed about a month ago.
Would you like to do more theater?
I do. I would like to, and so I'm thinking that maybe that's the next phase for me.
Okay.
Getting back either into more theater or maybe actually getting back into pursuing what I moved out here nearly 30 years ago to begin with, and that is, pursuing the theatrical stuff, movies and TV stuff. Who knows?
Cool.
We'll see.
Possibilities are endless.
Yeah, and who knows how long this buzz cut's going to last. Maybe one day I'll actually have my hair back again.
Right.
Yeah, my shiny hair, as my youngest daughter used to call it. She said, "Dad, your hair's not gray, it's shiny." I said, "Thank you, Lenny. That's very nice of you to say." But who knows how long this will last, or this.
Right.
We'll see.
And then the other night, we were both at the Bill Ratner one-man show, and I got to see the Don LaFontaine voiceover live. I know you're very involved in getting that put together. Can you talk a little bit about that? And what
Sure. Well, I've been very involved with the unions, of course, all these years, and with all three, SAG, AFTRA, and Equity. And in fact, the funny thing about Equity is I actually got my Equity card in 1981, but only because I was an understudy for Robert Urich in Barefoot in the Park back in Ohio.
So it was before you even came here?
Oh yeah, for Summer Stock Theater. It was, and I never went on stage because he went on every night. So I just had to be there every night just in case, because I was the understudy, right? But that's how I got my Equity card. But never actually did an Equity show. Since then, until this show I just did, was an Equity show. So it's the first time I actually got to be paid to be on stage as an actor, rather than just behind the mic as an actor. So that was great fun, or in front of the camera as an actor. So I've been very involved with the unions for years and years and years, and You know, of course, SAG-AFTRA merged a couple of years ago, and there are three guys. Don LaFontaine, of course, you know who he is, and I imagine you guys all do too. But legend in our business, and just a prince of a human being, as well as being an enormous talent, passed away a few years ago. And Don's best friend, Paul Pape, and Joe Cipriano, another very prolific voice guy, and talk about a prince of a man. Joseph was also a very good friend of Don's, and Don's personal engineer and the man who built his studio in his house, a guy named George Whittam. The three of these guys decided that wouldn't it be a cool way to honor Don and his legacy by starting this voiceover lab and actually building a state-of-the-art studio down here at SAG-AFTRA headquarters in Hollywood, to be a place that any union member can come and for free get workshops in voiceover, build demos, use them for sessions for a small fee if they need to, hook up with a client across country via ISDN, that kind of thing.
Wow.
And even open it up to non-union members for a small fee. Wouldn't it be a great way to honor Don and his way of wanting so much to give back, because that's what he was all about. He recognized where he came from and wanted very much to give back. So they came up with this idea of building this thing, came to a number of us who were very involved with, in the voiceover world and who knew Don, because I knew Don from the years that I spent at NBC doing comedy. He was there for many years doing drama, doing the drama stuff, and so we'd often run into each other down there and chat and stuff. And so we kind of got the ball rolling with this thing, and they asked a number of us to be on the advisory board for this, and so I'm privileged to be a part of that. And it's this wonderful organization that that is up and running. It's been up and running for 3 or 4 years now, where actors there are ongoing workshops down there, and union actors can sign up for these workshops free of charge, and find out about this whole, to some people, mysterious world of voiceover. That seems to have exploded in the last bunch of years in terms of interest nationwide. Why there's such a huge interest in it, I'm not sure. But I can't say that. That's silly, because I do understand, because like you, I was a huge fan of voices before I got into it. But I always thought I was a bit weird, and sort of a bit of a nerd, because I didn't really know anybody else like me who was as into it and the sound of voices and the magic that it could produce up here. I didn't really know anybody else who was into it like I was. But come to find out,
there's a whole lot of people.
Whole lot of them out there. Yeah. So that's what the Don LaFontaine Voiceover Lab's about. And,
it's a great facility. It's so.
And you got a chance to see it the other night, tour it for the first time?
I did. It's beautiful. So I'm glad that resource is out there. And I hear there's a New York one that they're working on.
Yep, they're going to open. They've got plans now, just approved plans to build one in New York City. Not sure what they're going to call that one yet. It'll be interesting. It's going to be fun to see what they end up naming that one, and who they choose to honor by naming it after. I'm assuming they're going to name it after a person.
Yes.
But yeah, we'll see. So it's branching out on the East Coast now, and who knows where it could go from there. I mean, maybe one in Miami, one in Dallas, one in Minneapolis.
Why not?
One in Cleveland.
There you go.
Who knows?
Cool.
The possibilities are endless.
That's right. Well, thank you so much for
my gosh.
time today. Such a pleasure.
My pleasure and my privilege. You've been an absolute delight to spend some time with.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.